Hey, what's up? I'm Dan Fredenberg for realestateisascam.com, and I'm going through a bunch of videos here on topics where people will look at it and go, wait a second, this whole thing is a scam. And then I'm going to talk about what full-timers do to make sure that they don't get hit with that. Today's topic of why real estate is a scam is that you can't advertise because of the SEC. You can't advertise because of the SEC. Specifically, you can't advertise for investors. Okay, the way you can advertise for investors, but it's still a specific kind of investor. You could you have to register with the SEC. A 506C registration allows you to advertise to anybody you want, just like McDonald's or Coke. But there's a problem with a 506C exception registration, which is that everybody has to be rich. Now, maybe my definition of rich is different from your definition of rich, but I use the government's definition of rich, which is they have something called a status called being an accredited investor. So it's the line where the SEC and therefore the government says that if you're richer than this, you're not really our problem anymore. Okay, it's like you basically can't be that rich without having a pretty good idea how this stuff works, and then therefore, you know, like they can have a policy of buyer beware. It's probably, well, they also probably understand it better than the person they're investing with, but what can you do? So a 506C, to be an accredited investor, it's basically an automatic status that comes when you're making $250,000 a year or more, or with you and your spouse, it's $350,000 a year or more. If you have nowhere near that kind of income and you still want to be an accredited investor, the only thing that requires is you have to have a net worth of over $1 million, excluding your primary residence. In other words, if your house is worth $1 million, that doesn't matter as far as your status as an accredited investor. But if you have $1 million worth of assets outside of your primary residence, then congratulations, you're an accredited investor, even though you have to go to your accountant to make a little letter say, yeah, this dude is an accredited investor. And in half the time, the accountant will make you like put in some additional verbiage to say, it's like, okay, yeah, but this doesn't actually count, and I'm not staking my reputation or my license on this. So like the actual, like it's a bit of a sham in that sense. So I've said that you can't advertise for investors on your deals, like a Kickstarter or something like that. You can't just hop onto Facebook and say, hey, I'm looking for money for this deal. You cannot do that. And that's a bit of a scam. So what do full-timers do? Well, there is a 506B exception, which is it's still a filing. The 506C generally costs you about $15,000, just so you know. You should always involve lawyers in any big commercial deal, any commercial deal at all. The main thing is you just have to be networking with real estate people, and as long as you're talking one-on-one to somebody, then it's just a conversation. It's really the SEC only gets involved if there's any kind of public element to it. So my lawyer frequently says that even just talking to somebody in the bathroom, it's like unless you're sure that you're alone or something like that, you should basically keep your voice down a little bit, just to make sure that nobody else can claim that they were enticed, even though you weren't even trying. So like, is it that dire? Is it that bad? No, not really. You really should go through the proper channels anyway if you're going to make all this stuff work, because it's really tough to explain if you vary from that at all. So that's one way that full-time real estate investors get around the fact that you can't advertise because of the SEC. But basically, this is like all businesses, which is where if you have no cash, then you're pretty much cooked. Anyway, so that's what I got for you today. Go ahead and check out some more videos on realestateisaScam.com, or check me out on dandoesdeals.com. See ya.